What is up, my peoples? My name is Lunhill, and today I will be going over some tips, tricks, and drills to help you improve your aim in Paladins. Now, keep in mind, this is just a guide. It won't magically help you improve your aim, but I do believe that if you put in the time and effort and apply some of the principles shown in this video, that it will help you improve your aim in the long run. But you must be willing to put in the practice and the repetition and the time in order to improve your aim. Now, if you do that, I can guarantee you that you will improve in the long run. Some may improve faster than others, but it will happen. I promise you that. Now, this video will be split into 4 major parts. Part 1, going over DPI and sensitivity. Part 2, we'll be talking about the hands, wrists, and eyes. Part 3, we'll be going over in-game drills inside of Paladins. In Part 4, we'll be going over out-of-game drills using external applications. Now, we have a lot to cover today, so hey, let's get started. DPI and sensitivity are a very important part of this guide. I believe it is the foundation of aiming. Now, with that said, it's different for each person. Somebody might like a slower sensitivity, and someone might like a faster sensitivity. You know, you're gonna see slower ones for more precise aiming. A lot of people like that slow feel for just the more accurate shots. Like myself, I like a pretty slow sensitivity. Some people like the fast, high intensity, if you will, aiming that's all over the place. You're able to flick really fast, but that's more like wrist controlled movement. Now, the lower you go in movement, you're going to have to also learn how to use your arm more. You'll be doing arm aiming if you're going lower one. Arm and wrist. It's like a combination of both. Now, if you're going with a higher sensitivity, you're going to be using more of your wrist. Personally, I like to use a mix between the both of them. Arm, I feel like arm has more of a consistency to muscle memory, if you will, and my wrist can make the smaller shots. Now, I judge my sensitivity based off of my mouse pad in relation to where my mouse is on it. So if I put my mouse in the center of my mouse pad and slide it to the furthest edge of my mouse pad, then my player in game would make a 225-degree turn. Now, to me, that's just perfect. That allows me to make good, precise shots with the low sensitivity. And if an enemy pops up behind me, I'm able to make a quick turn and adjust. Now, one way to try your sensitivity out is just to change it, adjust sensitivity, change your DPI, play some games, and adjust and see what you like as a player. I think that it's extremely important because once you know what you need, what you feel for, you'll get more comfortable. That'll help you improve as a player as a whole. To change your DPI in your mouse, that is the out of game setting. For me, I go to my Logitech gaming software. I have the Logitech G Pro mouse, and I can change it through their software. Each mouse is different depending on the software you have and what it runs. You can also change some mouse settings within Windows. You also need, of course, to have your in-game sensitivity, which is completely different from your DPI. Now, they both, obviously work together in some sense, so you do want to pair the two and figure them both out in sync. And with that said, DPI and sensitivity are just a core concept of aiming, and it's definitely something you should look into and work on. This next part, I'll be covering wrists, hands, and eyes. Now, this may not be super important, but to me, it's something small that helps me out a lot. Your wrists are a good portion of aiming. You're going to be moving them a lot, especially if you have a higher sensitivity. You're going to be using your wrist a lot, and if you got a lower sensitivity, you'll still be using your wrist for those tight shots. Okay, so doing wrist stretches maybe in queues, in between games, to me that's something that helps me a lot. I like to rotate my wrists, massage them a little bit, whatever that helps them in. So I rotate them around a bit, try to stretch them out, keep them active. That way my hands stay warm as a whole, which takes me to my next topic is just hands. You got to keep your hands warm. I like to take my thumb, maybe rub the palm of my hands a little bit if they're feeling a little bit cold. Rub my hands together, keep them warm like you do around a campfire. Just keep them warm because, well, back in football there was a saying, "Cold feet don't eat." Obviously, you can guess what that means. If your feet are cold, as in movement wise, they don't eat. They're not good. You know, if you have cold feet, you're just not going to perform well. And so I kind of have a little saying that kind of applies here. Cold hands don't stand. Okay, if your hands are cold, the reaction speed's going to be slow. You're going to be slow, and it's just not going to stand. It ain't going to work. So that might be something to keep in mind. The next thing, small thing, is your eyes. Personally, I don't have a big problem with this, but I know a lot of people have eye strain problems. Now, I know there's like glasses that help with this, like the Gunner glasses. I've heard they work. I've heard I've heard they don't. I have no idea. Personally, I haven't tried them. To me, haven't had a big issue, but sometimes my eyes do maybe get fatigued a little bit. So when I go to get water or whatever and take a break, I try to look at objects around the house. I mean, if you got a pen at your desk or a pencil, just pick it up, maybe drag it in front of your face a little in the distance, trace it with your eyes, just to get your eyes focused on something off screen. I think that helps a lot. I do that every now and then if my eyes are feeling a little tired and fatigued, if I've been playing for a long time. That helps me out a lot. So I think those three things, the wrist, hands, and eyes, are maybe like an overlooked thing when it comes down to aiming. But I think it definitely helps to keep an eye on those and to be cautious about those things because, well, I mean, those are the tools you're using for the game itself. So I think that's a really good thing to keep an eye on. All right, now for the fun stuff. So we're going to go into the practice range of Paladins, and we're going to pick Androxus. I also like to use Strix here as well. He can work well too, since Androxus kind of has that high recoil. So if you want to go for more faster, then I would say go Strix and use his pistol. So in this video, I'll be using both of those depending on the drill. Now, the first thing you're gonna want to focus on, something that's I see happen a lot is crosshair placement. It's not very great for people. You want to have a good crosshair placement. If it's not placed well, you're gonna have to spend more time readjusting to your target. So one good thing that you need to practice is your crosshair placement. Keep it at head level whenever you're going around the map. That also correlates to going around corners. When you're going around corners, you're gonna want to adjust. You're gonna want to kind of keep that crosshair on that corner. Kind of, I would say glue it, but don't really glue it to the corner. Just keep it close to that corner. That way, you should be able to react faster. You can identify a threat much quicker. So if you have good placement at head level and you're pre-aiming around walls, you can kill someone much faster. You'll be able to see your threat very quickly. Keep in mind you need to adjust to certain things like stair height, whatever. If you're coming on a corner and you know there's going to be some stairs, you got to adjust to that. So with that out of the way, we're going to go over to the first set of things that we can do, and that is going to be flick drill. Something simple, easy done, just practice and flick. You're going to line up and maybe right to the left of the target or right to the right and just flick. Those 90-degree flicks. I like to do those a lot. You can change it up and do shorter flicks if you want. I do that as well. So it's just, that's more muscle memory. It's not necessarily, great just aim. It's just more you're building that muscle memory. If you get in the habit of being able to make those flicks and see your target in a faster way, it'll help a bit. I think it helps a lot. I've seen my muscle memory improve. It used to be pretty low back then, but just practicing those flicks, those quick flicks, can help a bit. It's also good to transition between targets. I like to transition between targets a lot. Like, even if you got to go slow, take your time. If you go from one target to the next and just go slow, maybe not even shoot. Just kind of take your time, slowly slide your crosshair across to each one of them, and just align them. And then when you feel you're ready, start going faster, and then start shooting, then keep going. That's pretty solid. That's what I like to do, because it allows me to get the feel of it better. That way I'm not just going out there and blindly shooting and not really getting much done. If you practice tracing between the two, covering that distance, it'll help it out a lot, I think. There's lots of ways you can do the flicks. You can do them up and down, side to side. It's good to practice a lot. It's good to move a bit when you do it as well. And try different things. There's not much to work with in the practice range we're given in Paladins, but you can definitely get creative and do some different flick rotations and just lots of different drills on your own, which is kind of nice. Now, the next thing I kind of created is this. Well, there's these crystals on the top of the map, in the center of the map, and it's not great, but I don't mind to use them for certain flick practices, if you will. There's 2 crystals here, and you can flick between the 2 crystals. You can flick between them. You can flick from one to the other. You can do around the world drills. You hit the center, hit the right, hit the center, hit the top, and do those things. It's kind of not great, but something I do every now and then that's interesting. I guess switches it up. The next thing would be to track Pip. Now, Pip is on this map. There's 2 Pips, and they run back and forth, whatever, parallel with each other. And the whole goal there is to just track them. Keep your crosshair on their head and follow it. Back and forth, back and forth. You don't have to shoot him, just follow it. Then, transition between the 2. When the 2 meet in the center, transition. Switch off to the next one. Follow him down. And just track. Keep transitioning, right? Then, when you're a little comfortable, start shooting at them. Hit their heads. Track, shoot, and then do the same thing. Now, transition, shoot. So track, transition, shoot. Just do that. That's nice for tracking. My tracking personally is not the best, so I like to do that a lot, and that helps me a good bit. Now, the next one I like to cover is peeking, peek shotting. You want to build your ult. Now I know Androxus, his basic shots can build ult. So in this video, I was peeking with Androxus, just as an example to show how peeking works. I mean, I know most people know what it is. It's pretty important because you can peek in and out, and if you peek and hit headshots, you can do good damage and minimize the damage you take. Minimize exposure. It helps a good bit. It's nice to practice just to get that movement of peeking if you need to. If you're not committed on a team push or committed on a team fight, whatever, you can peek, poke, and just get some good damage, get some good ults, and hey, maybe take in a few kills here and there. The next thing would be jump shot. Kind of useless, but some classes, in this case Androxus, when he jumps, he still has his accuracy. Now, really, that doesn't really matter since that's not going to be the case for a lot of heroes. However, this drill can help with maybe mouse control. When you jump up, you track the head. You got to move your mouse down and then back up. Down and then back up with each jump. And then, once you just do that for a little bit, just incorporate a jump strafe. Strafe, jump, and then strafe. Okay? And just track. Just track. You don't even have to bother shooting. Just track. And then, like we did with the Pip drill, then throw in some shooting. Like, you don't have to go into the practice range and just go hardcore and start shooting everything really fast. Just take your time, track things, and then, once you kind of feeling that you got the motion in your wrist, like focus on that motion in your wrist or your arm, then incorporate the shooting, then speed it up. So with this, you can do the same thing. Just jump, strafe, shoot. And then maybe add 2. There's 2 Cassies, so you go for the 2. You jump, strafe, and shoot, but while you're in the air, you want to try to aim for the head of both of them. Hit both of them. Get that good peek in. It's kind of difficult, but, interesting. The whole goal of this whole deal is to switch up the practice range here. It's, like I said earlier, not the best. There's not a lot to work with, but you can get creative, you can switch it up, and you can have a lot of fun. So that's really all I got for here. Now, it's not saying that that's all there is. I'm sure there's tons of more things you guys can create up. Same with me. Lots of things I got to work on and maybe add. There's, like I said, you can get creative. That's the bottom line of this. You can get creative and do all sorts of drills and stuff. So it's really up to your imagination. All right. So the last part of this guide is the out-of-game drills using other applications and games. 4 I use is OS, Aimtastic, Aim Booster, and CSGO Workshop Maps. OS is a music and rhythm game that I like to play a lot in between cues, and basically it helps my reaction speed, helps me get warmed up, just helps my eyes get ready. It's just fun. You can import beat maps, as they're called, go and get them from their website, into the game using with different music, and you can kind of just have fun with it. You know, you have high scores and all that stuff. So it's honestly just really entertaining. It's really fun to play in between queues because, well, sometimes the queue times can get quite long. The next game I like to play is called Aimtastic. It's a free game on Steam, very easy to use, quick to use as well. Just recently got it. It's actually kind of fun, something nice to do to switch things up a little bit. It's got flicking, it's got tracking courses, it's got an assault course, it's got like lots of cool stuff you can do, different little drills. So it's nice to play around with and switch things up. The next one I use is called Aim Booster. It's actually a website. Some people may have heard of it. Aimbooster.com. Easy as that. Basically, this has a couple little drills you can use in the browser itself. So it's super nice to use in queue times. OS and Aim Booster are my 2 queue time games. Those two keep me sane in the long. Like if the queue times are long, those are what I'm playing. Keeps me warmed up, keeps me going, keeps me entertained. So I love them both. Both really fun. And Aim Booster has lots of different, little mini games to play and stuff. So the last game I like to use is CSGO Workshop Map. A lot of options, but the one I like to use is Aim Training CSGO 2 Dark, something like that. I'll put the link to that in the description below. There's a lot of drills you can do here, but there's 2 main ones I like to do. The first one is the Freiburg warm-up. It's called that because the pro player Freiburg used it on his in the video one time, and I like the idea of it. It works really well. It helps you with your flicks. It's really nice. So I mean, I like to use that, and I like to change it a little bit and try to focus on the one tapping and the moving, strafe one tapping. Working on that. I like to do that a lot, and that'll just help you with your flicks, help you with your reaction, and just hitting targets really quick. The next thing, also reaction and quickness, is just the intensive fast aiming. Except for me, I like to do it where the targets spawn every 0.3 seconds. Obviously, that can be maybe too fast for some people, so I think default it's on 0.6. Feel free to slowly lower it down. But to me, I like to use 0.3 seconds. That's a pretty good challenge. Really fast. Helps with reaction. Helps with aiming. I like to do that a lot. I will spend a long time doing those and just have a blast with it. Not because I think it helps a lot, and at least to me, it's helped me a ton. I love to use that just whenever I'm feeling some good practice. That's what I use. Alright, that will wrap up today's video. I hope you all learned something that you can apply to help improve your gameplay. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, then please give it a thumbs down. Feel free to leave a comment and subscribe. Also, check me out on Twitch and come hang out. I'll put a link in the description. We go live every day except Thursday. I plan on adding more videos and guides in the future, but until then, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.